Oh, what is the Upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 134, arguably the greatest Toronto Maple Leaf in history, James Reimer, of my little hockey show where I go through all the major news and what's happening around the NHL, mainly focused in on the Leafs and the Flames, not really, but those are my favorite teams, so I will be discussing them, but I'll be discussing all 32 teams on this podcast, and especially we're going to be talking about those freaking Detroit Red Wings making me look like an absolute moron. What is it, like 2 episodes ago, I called them the Dead Wings, and here they are. 7-game winning streak, shove it up my hoop. How could you? We're talking about Detroit right now, y'all. Let's dive into them. We're also I'm gonna do some check-ins on some teams, mostly Western teams that I feel like just don't get enough appreciation. So we'll talk about some other teams. And maybe we'll finally have that heart conversation that I've been teasing for a while. But first, Detroit, let's get in here. What the fuck is going on, man? Are they ever getting that new coach bump right now? Holy jumping. They're beating some pretty decent teams right here, too. All right. Well, this winning streak took place starting in December 29. Last year, this thing got kicked off against the Washington Capitals. Oh, wow. So they beat the Washington Capitals 4-2. Pittsburgh, see you later. 4-2, you're done. Columbus, out of here. 5-4, done. Winnipeg, get out of here. 4-2, you're done. Ottawa, forget it. 3-2, you're out of here. Chicago, get out of my face. 5-3 victory. And then the Kraken, more like the Krappen. 6-2, they're done. And up next, they got the San Jose Sharks. Come on now. I think it's could be an 8-game winning streak right here for the Detroit Red Wings. Or probably just jinx them. They're going to get just mutilated 9-0 by San Jose. But wow, dude. This is the kind of season that we're having right now in the NHL. It's just that out of nowhere, a team can go on a streak and they're back in the playoff spot. Detroit was like bottom feeding, man. They were dead. Like certified, their pulse was done, and bam, they fired the coach, something I didn't think they were going to do. At least history showed that they don't fire their coaches mid-season. They just haven't done that in like 30 years, and they finally done it, and my goodness, has it ever paid off. So I don't know what frickin' Todd McLennan's been putting in the water or what he's been saying to them. Possibly got a few family members of the teams held hostage somewhere in a container, and they're like, "You guys start winning, or you're not going to see him again." I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Dexter, so that might be influencing my mind right now. But geez, man, the new coach bump at the maximum right now. I can't say I've watched a Detroit game since ever in a long fucking time, but like, wow, dude, I don't know what this guy has changed. I don't know what he is doing, but one guy for certain I know that has been a big part of Detroit's turnaround is Patrick freaking Kane, man. This guy has been on an absolute tear, scoring point after point after point. And I mean, like, it was, I was looking at Patrick Kane this season. I'm like, yeah, he's not doing as hot. And compared to last season when he got to Detroit, man, he was phenomenal. He was on fire. And I was like, man, okay, this guy, and again, he proved me wrong. He proved a lot of people wrong coming off of that. I believe it was the hip surgery where pretty much no one comes back the same guy, or even like a lot of people don't come back to the NHL after that kind of surgery, and Patrick Kane did, and he was phenomenal. And now, ever since the 7-game winning streak, he's rattled off 3, 5, 7, 8, 11, 12 points. 13 points in 7 games. Wow, dude. And a lot of goals. A lot of multi-point games. He had a 3-assist game against his former Chicago Blackhawks. Like, damn, dude. And he's kind of all over the place in terms of ice time. He got 17, 14, 20 minutes. So, yeah, he's been around. He's been up and down. But prior to that, man, he was nothing special. Like, he was missing some time there with injuries. He had at least up until I can only go so far back, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he missed like 5 games with injury, went another 4 games without any points, so he didn't score a point for like a month there, and now he's on freaking fire. It's so wild, man, the NHL sometimes, how you're dead. You're literally dead wings. You're dead. And just a little spark, a little change, and all of a sudden. Now, how sustainable is this? That's going to be the big question. Can Detroit keep this pace up? I mean, at this point, you got San Jose up next. And like I said, they're beating pretty decent teams right now. Not all of them are like playoff contending teams right here. Now their big test is coming. After San Jose, you got the Florida road trip, or is it a road trip? Yes, they're on the road. Get some pretty beefy teams right here. You got Florida, Tampa, and Dallas, and then you finish it out with the Flyers at the end. You know that's going to be a tough game. I know the Flyers aren't amazing, but it's never an easy night against the Flyers. And then you got the Habs, the Lightning again, the Los Angeles Oilers. So yeah, they got a pretty tough little lineup here coming up with the games. And I'm not saying that these teams that they beat were easy. They're winning. They're winning pretty close games too. I would imagine a lot of these games were, there's an empty goal thrown in there as well, but they're winning pretty close games and they're scoring a lot. That's what's helping them out right here. They're able to put the puck in the net right now, which is good. They're still not doing great at keeping the puck out of the net. They still have some serious problems with special teams. Not their power play, though. Their penalty kill is still one of the worst in the league. Second worst in the league. I don't know how it can be worse than 69.1%. So they got to clean that one up right now. But how much further does this go where if Detroit keeps winning, are they going to be buyers at the trade deadline? What are they going to be looking for? You would have to imagine goaltending and defense help, but damn, dude, I am pleasantly surprised. So Cam Talbot is back. Let's take a look at Cam Talbot. Has Cam Talbot been a driving force behind these wins right now? I would have to imagine. So let's take a look. Let's look up good old-fashioned Cam Talbot right here. There we go, Cam Talbot. Of course, yeah. I dropped him, so of course he's been on a good winning streak. Yeah, he's been winning a majority of these games. He's got 4 of the 7 wins here, and he's playing okay. A little bit up and down here. So you got like an 840, an 800 save percentage, and then you got a 939 and a 913. So one up, one down kind of thing. But regardless, Detroit is winning, even with their goaltending putting out an 800 save percentage. So that is still a problem, obviously, and they're not even allowing all that many shots against right now, man. Like, their defense, their shots suppression has gotten a lot better. Like, the shots that Talbot has faced, you got 17 shots, 16 shots, 21, 21, 12 shots, and then he got 31 shots against Seattle. So Detroit is suppressing the shots a lot better than they were. At least, yeah, it looks like it from the month prior. They're doing better there at some shot suppression. I imagine playing a little bit better defense, but they're still not quite getting the goaltending that you would like to have. Yeah, man, but jeez, this is just wild. Absolutely wild. Lucas Raymond continues to be a beast. I talked about him last time. I was like, yeah, he's kind of one of the only bright spots on this team in the forward group, but he's been fantastic, continues to be awesome. Everyone else is pulling up. Patrick Kane's getting it going, Maurice Seider, and Simon Edvinsson, been a great pair for Detroit this year. Yeah, man, I don't know. You're getting Tarasenko's got to get it going. Andrew Kopp, JT Compher, all those guys got to get it going. Maybe they are now, but I still need some more out of those guys. But wow, Detroit, what the fuck, man? Making me look so bad every time I call out a team like, yo, they're done, but I guess not. So Detroit, how much further does this go? I don't know, man, but the big test is coming. We'll see after San Jose. We'll check in with Detroit again at some point, but wow, they're on absolute fire. They're the hot wings. They're the not-so-dead things anymore, and they're back. But even with the 7-game winning streak, they're still not in a playoff spot, obviously. They're in a lot better positioning now, which is good. But I don't know, looking at the standings, if their playoff aspirations are still all that good. So they're still, in terms of the wild card, they're not in the wild card right now. Right now it's held by Boston and the Blue Jackets, believe it or not. That is how that works, right? Sure, why not? So that's interesting. So they're behind the Senators as well. So they have 44 points right now, Detroit Red Wings. They got games in hand on the Bruins. So the Bruins are kind of the outlier right now. They got games in hand. They're hanging on to a spot, but there's so many teams nipping at their heels. And Boston, just this whole entire season, just really haven't, looked all that good, all that impressive. But they're still the Bruins, and they're hanging on there. So, but there's so many teams nipping at them, and they got the games in hand. All these teams have games in hand on the Bruins. The Bruins have played a lot of extra games this year so far, and so Columbus has 2 games in hand, Senators have 3, Detroit has 3, Montreal has 3, and the Penguins, they're at 45 games, so they don't have any games in hand, but they're all at 44, 45, and 46 points, so they're right there. So the teams they're looking to catch to get, they're looking to get into a third spot. You're going to have to try and take out the Lightning. It looks like the Leafs and Panthers are taking off. You could, absolutely. They're in a catchable-ish spot, but 10 points, or 12 points at this point in the season, that's a lot. That's a lot. So I don't think you're going to be catching like any of those, but a wild card spot is absolutely up for the taking in the East right now for any one of these teams. Blue Jackets, Senators, Red Wings, Canadians, Penguins. Fuck it. Even the Flyers could do it. If the Rangers want to get a pulse, they could get back in there. No one's really out except for, I would say, the Islanders and Sabres are pretty down there, but, the Islanders are 1 point difference from the Rangers. But regardless, the door's wide open, I think, for these wild card spots. We could get a very interesting thing. Like, the most interesting thing would be have Lightning and Bruins fall out, and we get like a Senators, Red Wings, a Canadians, Blue Jackets. Any one of those combinations would be amazing, super fun. Regardless, Detroit, you're only 2 points behind Columbus. You have a game in hand. Let's just say you beat San Jose. Bam. You're in the playoffs. You're in a wild card position. You're right there. The problem is, they're used a lot of energy on a 7-game winning streak, and even with that 7-game winning streak, you're only just back in the conversation. So you have to avoid any losing streaks. You have to avoid the dreaded losing streak after the winning streak. So however many games you end up winning on this winning streak, you have to make sure it's not for naught and don't go on a losing streak. You can't have a 8-game winning streak and then follow it up with 3 losses. It's just going to deflate that winning streak. You gotta if you're going to lose, you gotta come back with a win. And Detroit's gotta learn how to keep that going, get that momentum, and keep that fucking puck out of the net. If they continue to have like sub 20 shots against per game, they might be okay. I believe in Cam Talbot. He's a good goaltender. He's older now. So I think Detroit could absolutely, they need some help in net, but what is it? Yeah, the only options out there is John fucking Gibson. I'm not convinced that would be enough. I don't know, man. It's Detroit. Let's see what they can do. But right now, they're back in the fight, man. They're past the Canadians. They're battling with the Senators. They're right there with Columbus and Boston. Let's see which one of those teams do you think is going to get it. I just hope it's not the Bruins. I hope the Bruins fall out. And I guess since I'm talking about the Bruins, I'll just mention quick. I didn't have it in the notes, but now it's on my mind. I know there was a little story going around that there's a bit of a rift in the Boston locker room between Brad Marchand and Pasternak. Brad Marchand, stepped in front of that one. He was like, no, fuck that shit. There's no rift here. There's no problems in the locker room, anything like that. So, whatever. You can just say that. If you're the captain, so if you have to yell at a guy to get a little more out of him, Pasternak might not be the guy to yell at, but hell, it is what it is. But hey, I like hearing that there might be some drama in the Boston locker room, so that's pretty cool. Even though they declined those rumors, but hey, where there's smoke, there's fire. So we'll see where that goes. But regardless, Detroit Red Wings right now, god damn, they are on fire. They are the hottest team in the league right now, and we'll just see how much further they can take this one. But it's a lot of fun right now, and Patrick Kane, y'all. Goodness gracious, that guy's on fire. If you haven't picked him up and if he's available in fantasy, pick him up. What are you doing? And speaking of what are you doing, Seattle Kraken? What's going on over there? Let's do some team check-ins on some teams I feel like just don't get talked about very often. I feel like Seattle is right up there with one of them, even though they're one of the new teams in the league, super exciting and all that shit. No one really talks about them all that much anymore. So let's take a look at what's going on. They're 7th place right now in the Pacific. They're not doing very well, obviously. They haven't played very well. Their last 10, they're 2-6-2. So yeah, it's been a rough ride here for the Kraken, and a big portion of that is the injury to Joey Daccord. Joey Daccord went down, and sadly they are left in the hands of Philip Grubauer, and Philip Grubauer is terrible. Absolutely terrible. So that's basically sunk their season. If they had Joey Daccord in net, healthy, playing, they'd probably be in a wild card position. They would have a chance, but right now, when you got Philip Grubauer as your goaltender with an .870 freaking save percentage and a .376 goals against average, this guy's played in 20 games. He's only won 5 of them. Wow. I have been anti-Philip Grubauer ever since he showed up in Seattle. I drafted his ass, and he blew up my whole entire season with he's been a terrible goaltender for years now. I don't know how this guy hasn't been bought out, sent to the AHL somewhere. This guy is he's unplayable. He has just been an unplayable goaltender for at least 3 or 4 years now. It's brutal, and he's really the only guy that I am this vicious with in terms of just a player. I just cannot fucking stand this guy, because every time I see his stats, I look at his stats, I'll see highlights when he's in the net, and he gives his team no chance to win. I just don't understand it, man. I don't know if he's that kind of, if he got the contract and just gave up, or the pressure was too much, or he's just getting exposed where he had the safety of a Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup winning team in front of him and made him look a lot better than he actually is. But Philip Grubauer right now is a major reason why the Kraken just can't get anything going. This guy can't stop a beach ball. So aside from that, I will say that Jared McCann's had a fairly disappointing season. He started out really well, and just over the last month or so, he's gone very, very quiet. He has 32 points in 44 games, which is very nice, but that's your leading scorer right there, way below a point-per-game player, and that's what Seattle is waiting for. They're waiting for that superstar talent, and it's going to take a while. They're a new franchise. They don't have a lot in the cupboards right now. They're still building all that up. So there's not a lot that they can call up yet. They don't really have those guys. Yes, they have the rights, and they have who's the other guy that they anyway. Well, they have some guys coming, of course, but it's going to take a while. It's a new organization. They got to build it up a little bit here. So yeah, it was very exciting when they made the playoffs, right? Anyway, yeah, that was super exciting, and I'm pretty sure they beat Colorado, did they not? So yeah, it was very exciting. That was super fun, but not everybody's the Vegas Golden Knights, and not everybody gets to be a fucking contender right out of the gate and get to stay as a contender for their entire existence, which is crazy. Well, they did miss the playoffs that 1 year, but regardless, not everybody is Vegas. Vegas is an outlier. The Kraken is a much more realistic new team to a league, I would say. But Jared McCann, not producing the way you would like, but I can't really blame the guy, because your top center is Chandler Stevenson, who's he's a fine player, but no, he is not a top line center. He's a second line center, third line center on a fucking beastly team. But 29 points in 43 games. He was brought in, for some offense, and he's doing okay. He's doing around what you would expect him to do. Not the kind of guy you bring in, he's going to sit there, be a point per game on a top line. Not on this team anyway, but 29 points in 43 games, not awesome. Jaden Schwartz, he's playing a nice healthy season this year. That's fantastic. He's always struggled with injuries, but yeah, he's kind of punching underneath his weight class, I would expect, for a healthy Jaden Schwartz. I was hoping for some more out of Oliver Bjorkstrand. They brought in Brandon Montour. He's doing fine, man. He's got 8 goals in 43 games. That's really good for a defenseman. 23 points, a -2. Yeah, he's doing pretty good. And then you have Matty Beniers and Shane Wright. So these are the younger, up-and-coming guys. Matty Beniers, he had that really good, I think it was a rookie season. And then, yeah, he's kind of been struggling to find that offensive consistency ever since. But 23 points in 44 games, a point every other game. I mean, a little bit lower than, well, quite a bit lower than what you would want out of Matty Beniers. So, again, I don't know if it's just, Matty Beniers kind of looks like he's going to be like a really good second line, an amazing third line on a top contending team. I don't know if Matty Beniers is going to crack into that top line center potential. And then there's Shane Wright. He's gotten into 41 games this year. He's got 20 points. Not bad at all, man. Not bad at all. 8 goals. He's still young, man. He's a very young kid. Yeah, he had that first overall potential. He fell to 4, but he's 21 years old. So he's still got a lot of time. It's good to see that he's getting consistent, play time in the NHL this year. That was kind of the hard thing to watch, was Shane Wright struggling to find a location to play. Like, he's too good for the juniors. He's not quite good enough to get into the NHL. He wasn't able to play in the AHL for a while because he was too old or too young. It's just like, geez. So thankfully he's finally got a spot and he's not getting moved around a bunch. So that's cool. Riker Evans been okay. Vince Dunn, I mean, he's been phenomenal. It's just he missed half the season with injury. 24 games. He's got 19 points, man. He's a stud. Absolute stud. You would want more from guys like Andre Burakovsky, Eli Tolvanen. He's been okay, like 10 goals in 44 games. I don't think they're paying him very much, so it's like okay. And then there's Yanni Gourde. Yanni Gourde is a guy that's on the trade block. I hear lots of rumors about him getting dealt to the Leafs, which would be, I'd be super down for that. He's kind of a feisty center. I would love to have that kind of player in a playoff run. So yeah, let's talk Seattle. Let's see if we can get Yanni Gourde in Toronto. That'd be great. Why not bring Brandon Tanev as well? That would be awesome. Doubtful they would want to trade Tanev. He's kind of that spark plug. He doesn't bring a lot of points or anything, but he's a fan favorite. Jordan Eberle's only gotten into 17 games. That's hurting them. He's got 11 points in those 17 games. Pretty good. And then Capo Caco, since he's arrived, he's been damn fine, man. 11 games played, he's got 8 points. Fuck yeah, man. That's great. That's great. I've seen some nice little articles written about Caco, and he's been fitting in very nicely with Seattle. That's great. They're embracing him. And again, another guy that's probably looking over at the tire fire that is the New York Rangers right now and being like, yo, I'm happy I'm not there right now. Like, I'm happy I got out. Things are at an all-time low for them, and here I am. I'm swinging a fish around. People like me here. I'm having a good time. So I'm happy for Capo Caco, there you go. Adam Larson, I mean, he's a pure defensive defenseman. I would love to get that guy on the Leafs or something like that. I don't think I'm pretty sure they re-signed him. I don't think he's going anywhere, which is fine. That's fine, whatever. All right, so anyone else down here that's really okay? Well, yeah, man, it's just, you look at the team, you're just like, yeah, it's just, they're just not ready yet. They're in that incubation period. They're still building. They still need some pieces, man. They need big pieces. I think defense, honestly, I think they're doing pretty well there. I think Brandon Montour was a great addition. You got Vinny D right there, man. I think their defense is pretty decent, actually. Jamie Alexiak adds some big size and some scariness right there. But yeah, I think maybe a piece or two away on the back end. I think there's still quite a bit of work to do on the front end. I think you could maybe like 3 more top 6 players, that type of thing, like really effective, what would you call them, impact players? And they're just not always available every single year, right? Like, they brought in Chandler Stevenson. Is he really an impact player? I don't think so. No, not really. He's not the kind of guy that's, I wouldn't say he was on the level of like a Steven Stamkos or a Marchessault. If they brought in one of those two, that would be like an impact forward that I think would have done some good for the Seattle Kraken this year. But it is what it is. You can't get everybody. They can only sign for one team, right? So maybe next year the Kraken are able to bring in another big fish, maybe 2, and if they can get Joey Daccord back healthy in net, I mean, yeah, I think Joey Daccord is the guy in net. They got to get rid of that cancer that is Grubauer, man. They got to get rid of that guy. Just get him out of here. He is so fucking bad, man. Oh, he makes me so angry. I just want to fight him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not really. He kicked the shit out of me. But regardless, the Kraken just doesn't look like it's their year, obviously. They're falling out. Maybe they can get a really nice pick. There seems like a lot of nice players. It does look like one of those drafts where it's like, I don't know if they're going to call it a weaker draft because there is no bona fide, certified number one pick. This guy's an absolute franchise-changing player. I don't really hear that aura around this draft. There's a lot of good players. You got Hagens and Misa, and I think it's Schneider, these guys. Maybe they get one of those. Something like that. We'll see where it goes with the Kraken, but if Joey Daccord is out any longer, they will be in the bottom of the league in no time with like an 800 save percentage out of Grubauer. Yeah, you guys will be a lottery team in no time. So, yeah, a little bit obviously disappointing for the Kraken this year. They took some big swings in the offseason, and I think they were solid swings. I wouldn't say that any of them are fucking disasters or anything, but it just wasn't enough. It's just not enough yet. You know, it's disappointing that Beniers hasn't really found that, like, 60-point player that he was early on. He hasn't really been able to find that pace again, which sucks, but he's a good two-way forward, so, yeah, we'll see how much better Shane Wright can get. I'm just happy that he's playing in the NHL consistently. That's good. Capo Caco. How many more guys can they find like that? You know, guys that aren't really fitting in their organization. They're still young. There's still potential to find there, but can you find it? You know, is there something with like a Trevor Zegras? You know, I feel like Trevor Zegras, he's going to get traded by the Ducks at some point, and I feel like a lot of teams are in the market for a talented center that, you know, could use a shakeup, could use a change of scenery. I just think the mix of Greg Cronin in Anaheim and Trevor Zegras, it just doesn't mix. So I feel like someone has got to take that shot on Trevor Zegras and bring him in. I don't think he is that big player, but hey, that'd be a nice ad. Anyway, I think that'll do for the Kraken. Just better luck next year, I guess, sadly, for them. All right, let's go to Utah. Let's talk about the Utah Hockey Club. Feel like it's been a while since we discussed this team. Excuse me, good Lord. How are they doing? They're okay. They're 18, 17, and 7, 6th place in the Central right now. Across the board, they're kind of middling, except for goals for, they're 25th. Goals against, 13th. Power play, 16th. And penalty kill, 13th. So why isn't this team doing a little bit like that? With those stats, you would think they'd be a little bit higher up in the standings, but not so much right here. So what the hell's going on here? How have they been over their last whatever? 3-6-1 over their last 10. Not ideal. They're a negative 16 in the goals differential. So yeah, not ideal right there. In terms of, oh my goodness, this just keeps reloading on me. All right. In terms of in goal, so I know Connor Ingram had, he was dealing with some stuff. Again, sadly, he had the whole thing that he had won the Bill Masterton last year. He took some time off this season. Apparently, I believe it was his mother or possibly, anyway, someone very close to him and his family passed away recently. So he took some time away to, you know, deal with all that. So that sucks. Very unfortunate. You know, Connor Ingram sounds like he's already been through so much and it just keeps going. But in 14 games, he's got 6 wins, an 877 save percentage. So it doesn't look like he's been able to capture the magic of last season, which is unfortunate. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes with goaltenders, man. It happens all the time where they have one great season and everyone's like, oh, this dude's arrived, he's amazing forever. And then they go back to, you know, just not playing as good as they did. There's a lot of goalies from last year alone that had great seasons that aren't playing as good as they were. You know, Alex Lyon in Detroit. You got Charlie Lindgren in Washington isn't playing as good. You know, Connor Ingram and so on and so forth. But Karl Vejmelka, though, has been playing fantastic this season. 26 games, 10, 11, and 3 with a 916 save percentage. So that is very, very good. I imagine they're pretty happy that they held on to Vejmelka at this point. Again, this is another goalie who's been, you know, a great season, not so good. Pretty good, not so good. And here we are. He's having a really good season. Sadly, it doesn't look like Utah is going to be able to cash in on that 916 save percentage. Very, very good. Regardless, across the board here, Clayton Keller, 41 points in 41 games. Point per game guy, super underrated. I love Clayton Keller. I think he's awesome. Logan Cooley, holy shit, I did not even notice this one. Logan Cooley's got it going on. He's got 36 points in 42 games. Hello, how you doing? Look at that. I haven't heard anybody talking about Logan Cooley, man. This guy, I think he's having a bit of a breakout right here, I would say. Hold on here. Let me take a look. 20 years old. Absolutely insane. So last year, I feel like last year he had 44 points in 82 games. He is on pace to smash that. Yo, Logan Cooley, he's looking very, very good right now for Utah. That's awesome, man. That's really, really good. Second place in scoring on the team. Very good. And then you got Dylan Guenther, his buddy right behind him. 40 games played, 34 points. Very, very good. 16 of those are goals. And yeah, he had a hot start. You know, kind of comes with the territory with the younger guys. They'll go through the little slumps every now and again. But Guenther is, when he gets hot. And very, very good for him. Nick Schmaltz getting it done, staying nice and healthy this year. That's good. 31 points in 42. Pretty good. Mikhail Sergachev, that's been a nice addition for them. 29 points in 42 games, 8 goals. Can't complain about that one. Barrett Hayton, damn, man, I really thought this was going to be the year that he really broke out. Only 18 points in 42 games. Was hoping for a little bit more out of him, but oh well, it is what it is. And you look at everyone else is just kind of having a season. Kaylor Yamamoto played 3 games for them. He didn't get anything done, so that's a shame. Josh Doan's gotten into 11 games this year. Only has a goal and an assist, 2 points, but nice to see that he's gotten into some games. The one that's really been hurting them is the fact that Sean Durzee's barely played at all this season. He's only gotten into 4 games. And he's a major part of their blue line. He's a big part of their power play, their breakout, and all that shit. So that has definitely hurt them not having him in the lineup this season. Michael Carcone, I think he was one of the ones that had a really nice season. He's only gotten into 28 games and only got 9 points. Lawson Krause. I was expecting a lot more out of Lawson Krause this year. Only 10 points in 42 games. Is there potential for him to get traded this year? I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of teams would love to add a Lawson Krause to their playoff run. Big, strong power forward. I don't know, 6 goals in 42 games, just not getting it done right there. Nick Bjugstad, you'd like a little more than 11 points out of him. Mattias Michelli, you would like more than 12 points in 41 games out of him as well. Alexander Kerfoot, he's only got 15 points. Nothing really special there either. Yeah, man, it does look like I was excited for Utah this year. It looks like some things are starting to come together, man. Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther really getting it going, man. It sucks that, they're getting such good goaltending out of Vejmelka, and they're just not really getting the results in terms of the win column. They're not out of it yet. I mean, hey, maybe they can go on a fucking 8-game winning streak and just get right back into the playoff spot, but never mind. I was thinking about Joey Decourt again, but hey, man, this team could get it going. It's just offensively, defensively, just not all that impressed. I mean, if they can get Sean Durzi back, they could potentially make a run, but I don't know if it's in the books for these guys right here. Let me take a look at the wild card. Let's see where they're sitting here. So, they're not that far out, man. Well, they kind of are. The only team they can catch would be the Flames. They got 49 points, and Utah's got 43. But the teams in front of them, you got the Canucks. They're a mess, but they're still the Canucks. And then the Blues, they're surging as well with the new coach and everything. So, not the easiest teams to try and pass right there. Good luck catching the Avalanche. They're off and running. And, man, it doesn't look very good for them to get into a Pacific. I mean, you got to try and take out the Kings, the Oilers, the Knights, Avalanche. I don't think Utah has a real good chance this year, but at least they made a nice little splash. They're not just in the bottom of the league right now. We don't have that, they're fucking playing in a college arena thing anymore when they were the Coyotes. So it's just good that they're in a nice organization where the fans like them. They seem to be in good hands right here. They're just a few more pieces away, I would say. But the competition is so strong right now. Who thought the Flames were going to be as good as they are this season? I mean, I sure as fuck didn't. I had them listed as a lottery team going into this year. So me, as a Flames fan, I'm pleasantly surprised. And fuck it. Let's just take a little detour and talk about the Flames. I don't talk about the Flames enough on this podcast. I claim to be a Flames fan, but I'm a part-time, I'm a half fan. Like, the Leafs are first, but I've always loved Calgary. I just love that fucking team, man. I've always loved them, and this is the type of season that is just, like, so prototypical Calgary Flames. Like, no expectations, they're the underdogs, everyone's counting them out, and bam, they're just proving everybody wrong. They're sticking in the fight, man. Jonathan Huberdeau's getting it going. No, he's still not living up to his contract, but he's leading the team in scoring. Connor Zary has been fantastic. Sadly, he got hurt, so that's going to hurt the Flames quite a bit. He's been fantastic on that third line. Coronado, eventually, it looks like he will be a 30-goal scorer in the NHL at some point next season, the year after. He's got the skill, man. He's had some really impressive showings this season, and I like the way that he's playing, man. Huberdeau's getting it going. The only thing that sucks is, like, Kuzmenko and who's the other guy? Sharangovich. Neither of them have really gotten it going this year. Sharangovich's been okay. He had to deal with that injury at the beginning of the year, but Kuzmenko's kind of just been a big old disappointment this year. He was very good for the Flames last year. And yeah, that kind of just seems to be his thing. He has one good year with the team, and then the next year he's not so good. Maybe the Flames can move him, get something back for him, and I don't know. That'd be really the only guy I think the Flames should be trading. It would have to depend, like, what the package would be for Kadri. Like, if it's I don't know. I think he's more valuable to keep than to get rid of right now, honestly. So I'm of the mind, just keep those guys, keep Anderson, keep Kadri, and this team is competitive enough, man. Like, no, it's not a team that's ever going to win a Stanley Cup right here, but they're doing a lot better than everyone expected. They're arguably, aside from Columbus, like, one of the biggest surprises of the entire year. So fuck yeah, Calgary, you keep it going, baby. Dustin Wolf, let's fucking go, baby. No one count out those Flames. How could you? All right, let's talk about a team that's doing well, but I still feel like just doesn't get talked about all that much, and that's the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars, y'all. I've always liked the Dallas Stars. That was the first Stanley Cup final I ever watched, was the Dallas-Buffalo final. That's where I fell in love with Ed Belfour and basically goaltending alone. Like, I'm shocked that I didn't latch on to Hasek as much as I did Belfour. Pretty sure it's strictly helmet-related. Belfour had the awesome double eagle helmet, and Hasek had that unique cage, but no cool design on it. So maybe that was the difference maker. Regardless, love goaltending, and the Dallas Stars are on fire right now. I think they're like 8-2-0 in their last 10 or something. They just had a 7-game winning streak. They're doing fantastic, but I don't know. It sounds like Dallas fans aren't very satisfied right now with the way that they're playing, and I understand that. There's definitely been some underwhelming performances, but I think right now with Dallas, where they're at as an organization, I feel like they're a little bit like, we gotta make our stand in the playoffs. Like, regular season, cool. Yeah, we're winning. We're fine. We're just kind of moving along. We're just getting through the season, getting to the playoffs. That's the important thing. Make it to the playoffs and make a big impact there. That's where I think Dallas is. I feel like they've been a contender for quite some time. I've had them as like a sleeper contender for quite some time, and they're going to be that for quite some time because this team is built very, very nicely. I mean, top to bottom, they're deep, goaltending, defense. Their defense is a little bit weaker. It definitely took a hit from last season, losing Hakanpää and Tanev. They lost both those guys. So yeah, it's hurt them a little bit, but not that much because they're third place in goals against in the NHL. 2.48 goals against. They're 10th in goals for. Their power play needs some help. 27th in the league right there. So they need to clean that one up. That's definitely something they need to figure out before playoffs begin, because it's very important to have your special teams clicking in the playoffs. But their penalty kill, first place in the NHL, 85%. Very nice right there. All right, in terms of statistics, we got the Ottman, Jake Ottinger, doing very, very well. 910 save percentage. A little bit under what people would expect out of him. But again, Ottinger, it's playoff time for him. He shows up big in the playoffs. Casey DeSmith's been a nice backstop for them. 913 save percentage. I mean, yeah, dude, you can't ask for much more than that out of your backup goaltender. Now, leading the team in points. Now, this is where some of the disappointment comes around. It's just some of the guys aren't really producing points at the level that you would expect, except for Matt Duchene, who's crushing it. 42 games, 38 points. I mean, fantastic bargain for Dallas right there with Duchene. Jason Robertson, okay, he's been playing very good lately. Last month or so, he's really started to put it together. Lots of multi-point games. So yeah, he seems like he's back. He's got it going. Very slow start, but he's up to 35 points in 42 games. And if he continues to play that he is, he could potentially get into a near 100-point season if he continues to play the way that he is right now. Wyatt Johnson started to get it going after a slow start. He's a very hot and cold player. He'll go on nice point streaks and then go cold for a while. Would like to figure that out. 30 points in 42. Jamie Benn's got 30 points in 42. You know, the veteran, he's not living up to that contract anymore, but he's still the leader of this team. He's doing good. Rupe Heinz, you would want more than 27 points, but he has 19 goals in 41 games. That's pretty fucking good. Mason Marchment's been fantastic. He's missed some time, but 33 games, 27 points. Dadonov's been a nice addition. Thomas Harley's been okay. Tyler Seguin's been okay. I mean, if 19 games, he's got 20 points. A little bit more than okay. He's just got to stay healthy. Logan Stankoven, maybe a little bit under what people were wanting out of him this year. Only 4 goals, 20 points in 40 games. Still good. Miro Heiskanen, he's never really been a big point guy, but his play is ridiculous, and thankfully he was okay after getting that nasty cross check. Man, there's just so many good guys on this team. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to go through everybody, but yeah, dude, it's a fucking stacked team. I'm just looking at all these names, man. They got a lot of guys on this team, but I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas looks to add a little bit more on the blue line, if they can add another forward, just a little more forward depth. I mean, yeah, and it looks like, I'm not saying this is what they're doing, but it kind of looks like Dallas is reserving a little bit of energy right now. Rupe Heinsohn, everybody just seems like they're maybe saving a gear, and it looks like they're almost ready to kick it into that gear and kind of show, I feel like they're kind of in there. Even though with the 7-game winning streak, I still feel like they're holding back just a little bit, and they're going to unleash on the playoffs, man. I feel like Dallas, you better watch the fuck out for them, because they're always dangerous. It's Dallas, so we'll see how far they can go this year in the playoffs. I would put them in the Final Four, honestly. I think but man, there's so many good teams in the West. Who knows? But Dallas, unfreaking real. Just wanted to give them a little shout out right there. Speaking of shout-outs, let's shout out Mr. Connor frickin' Hellebuck, because he got his, 300th win. Wow, that is spectacular for Connor Hellebuck, and that leads me down to the conversation we're finally going to have, the Hart conversation. Who do I think are the early candidates, or the candidates so far for the Hart Trophy? And let's start that conversation with Connor Hellebuck. Connor Hellebuck is absolutely a contender for MVP of the season, man. This guy, the thing that really has gotten my attention is the fact that I don't think Comrie has won a game this season with the Winnipeg Jets, the backup goaltender for the Jets. And that's something, man, because that just goes to show, if they didn't have Connor Hellebuck, would the Winnipeg Jets win? Shit. Would they have won any game, man? You look at how they play when Hellebuck is in net, and you look at how they play when any other goaltender is in net. It's different, man. It's completely different. Connor Hellebuck brings a confidence back there that you're just not getting from other people. It's the same thing that the Devils probably felt having Martin Brodeur back there for 78 games a year. Yeah, that guy's pretty fucking good back there, and he's going to make that save. So that's probably how the Jets feel. I don't know why they don't feel that way with Eric Comrie. He's a damn fine goaltender and a very nice man. But Connor Hellebuck absolutely should be in that conversation. I think it's very safe to say the Jets would not be the Jets without Connor Hellebuck. If they didn't have him in net, they would probably be a team battling in the wild card. They would be struggling if they didn't have the amazing goaltending that Connor Hellebuck brought. Now, I'm not bringing down the Winnipeg Jets as a team. That's a good team, man. Especially after that Dubois trade, they got very deep up front. I think their defense is underrated. It's good, not amazing, but it's good, man. It's a good defense. Now, it's not the defense that they had back in 2018 with Byfuglien and Trouba and fucking, yeah, that was a mean-ass blue line. But without Hellebuck, man, it's they're not doing anywhere near as good. Hellebuck is incredible. Now the big conversation is, now goalies don't win the Hart. The conversation is like, they don't play every single game. They're not, you know what I'm saying? You know, Connor McDavid plays every game, and McKinnon's out there every game, but Hellebuck arguably is one of the only like straight up like, I'm the number one goalie. A lot of teams have moved to the 1A 1B system, where they had two competent goaltenders, kind of splitting the load down the middle. It's nothing like it used to be back in the day when you have Martin Brodeur playing 78 games, and then they'll just throw in a broomstick or something on nights that Marty might need a break, and Patrick Waugh and all these guys playing multiple, you know, almost every single game. Easier to have those guys in the Hart conversation. When Hellebuck is playing like 60, 65, yeah, I mean, oh, well, he didn't play every single game. So that's kind of why goalies don't win the Hart anymore. They just don't play as much anymore, but their impact is still the same, man. Like, if you don't have good goaltending, you're rarely going to be a good enough team to make the playoffs. So goaltending takes you further than pretty much anything, so I have to put Connor Hellebuck in there. Do I think he wins it? Honestly, no. There's just, you know, when you have guys like McDavid, McKinnon, like that kind of caliber talent, it's hard to give it to Hellebuck. You know, he's gonna win the Vezina. I think that's pretty safe to say. It's pretty much already locked in on Connor Hellebuck. I really don't see any other goaltender taking it away from him this year. So he's pretty much gonna get that, which is nice. That's really nice. You know, and, you know, same conversation with defensemen. Defensemen don't win the Hart anymore either, which leads me to my next couple of candidates that I'd talk about. Quinn Hughes, Vancouver. He's been phenomenal, considering, like, on top of all that drama and bullshit that they're dealing with in Vancouver right now, he's still been phenomenal. It's not bringing his game down whatsoever. He's handling it like an absolute professional, and he's still continuing to go out there and be the best player on the Vancouver Canucks. He is phenomenal. He is the only defenseman that will be, you know, argued to be the best defenseman in the league outside of Makar. Like, it's pretty much everyone's like, nope, Makar, but as the years have been going by lately, Quinn Hughes has been more and more of an argument as the best defenseman in the league. And, like, watching this guy, man, his breakouts are just so effortless. His skating is so smooth and just fantastic. He's good at defending. Like, he's not just, you know, not just putting up points and forgetting about defense. No, he plays good defense. I can't say that he's a liability out there like an Erik Karlsson or something. But yeah, dude, I have to give Quinn Hughes a huge shout out. I don't think he wins it either. He will definitely be in the bat. He could very well win the Norris this year. He's just played healthier. He's been fantastic. So yeah, I could see Quinn Hughes winning the Norris this year as well. I believe he won it last year. So yeah, but and could he hit 100 points? Now that's the other one. I could see Quinn Hughes hitting 100 points at some point. I don't know if it'll be this year with all the bullshit that's going around. I feel like if he was going to do it, it's probably last year, when everything seemed to be going right for the Canucks, which is like an anomaly in that of itself. Nothing goes right for the Canucks. So last year seemed like a very magical thing that I guess, you know, they didn't quite cash in on. That could have been a Stanley Cup. Who knows? But Quinn Hughes, phenomenal defenseman. And that basically, that whole conversation, you can double that and put it on Makar as well. The only thing that the difference between Makar and Quinn Hughes, from what I've seen, is just Makar's a little bit more psychotic out there. He's a little bit more, he'll throw his body around, he'll do some, that's why he misses games, because he's a little bit more reckless out there, which, you know, that's an interesting question. If you're a GM and you got, you know, prime Quinn Hughes and you got prime Cale Makar, they're both on the same contract. Let's just say they're both on 8x8s, 8 years, $8 million. They're both 24, and which one are you picking? Right now, that is a fucking tough conversation to have, man. Like, I don't know. I'd probably just go Makar, and I would take that risk. Like, yeah, he's a little bit more reckless, but his impact, I think, is a little bit more than Quinn Hughes with that physicality that he brings. But yeah, man, that's a tough one. Regardless, two defensemen, I think, are definitely in that conversation. What about Nate Chaz? So Nate Chaz was in that conversation, I would say. He's not in that no more. For myself personally, yeah, he had an unbelievable start. He was leading the league in points by like a lot. And yeah, he's just kind of come back down to earth a little bit there. He had quite the long pointless drought where he didn't get anything. And that's just not MVP caliber. Like, MVPs are the MVPs pretty much every single night. And that's basically, that's the competition you're going up against, man. Like, you can't take a 7-game pointless streak if you want to win the Hart against guys like McKinnon and McDavid and Kaprizov and stuff like that. So Nate Chaz was an early contender for the Hart, but I do not think he is in there anymore. I still think he's having a phenomenal season. Carolina's doing very well. Yeah, I can't put him in that conversation anymore. So no, I don't have Nate Chaz in that conversation. But Jack Eichel, I do. Absolutely, man. Jack Eichel has been insane. Absolutely insane, this guy. I mean, he's got so many more points than the next guy on his team. He's just been outstanding. He has been dominant on the ice. What a player. What a freaking player. And so happy that he finally just shedded all the bullshit, whatever it was, the surgery, the Buffalo, all that crap. And now he's somewhere happy. He's playing well, and he's finally playing like up to that potential. And he could hit 100 plus points this season. Wouldn't be shocked. But is he, I think he's in the conversation. Will he win it? No, but man, I'm just happy that Eichel is having such a season. Let's get to some of the regulars. You got Draisaitl McDavid. They're always going to be in that conversation, and rightfully so. Leon is leading the league in goals right now. He's been sensational. Whenever McDavid goes down, Draisaitl steps up. Whenever Draisaitl goes down, McDavid steps up. I would say this year, Draisaitl probably has the edge on McDavid right now because he's played the full season and stepped up big when McDavid was out. And Oilers are fucking rolling right now. There's no worries about playoffs or anything anymore. They're just kind of a slow starting team nowadays. They're just off to bad starts, and then they get it going. They're fine. But yeah, obviously McKinnon, I keep saying McKinnon, I'm going to talk about him, but McDavid and Draisaitl, just perennial Hart contenders, right? They're in there, of course. They've been phenomenal. McKinnon, he's been phenomenal. Now, people would also probably put in Rantanen, but I think Rantanen's still a phenomenal player. I think he gets brought up a bit by McKinnon. Not a whole lot, but yeah, if he wasn't playing with McKinnon, he probably wouldn't have as many points as he has. But McKinnon, dude, oh my God. This guy's an animal. He's leading the league in points right now. And yeah, it's McKinnon, dude. He's a fucking warrior. Never stops. He's probably the most entertaining guy for me to watch. I love watching McKinnon play. He's so fast and just looks dangerous all the time. Everything he does, I'm just like, oh, that could be in. It's in. There you go. So McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, these guys are MVPs for their team. I think McKinnon has the edge on those three on his team right now. Yeah, there you go. So McKinnon's in there. You got Kucherov. Got to put Kucherov, very similar to how it was last year. Kucherov is just the straw that stirs the drink of the Tampa Bay offense. Without that guy, yeah, Tampa just isn't Tampa. You see what he can do with guys like Steven Stamkos. Like, Steven Stamkos, an elite goal scorer, but when he's getting passes from Kucherov, he is one of the best. And you see how good he is mixing with Gensel. Like, it doesn't matter who you put with Kucherov. It's Kucherov. He's going to make anybody look good, man. That's what he does, but he's also just getting the benefit of having really good players to play with him. I mean, Gensel's fantastic. He is probably loving it right now. The passes that he's getting, he's like, man, I went from Crosby and now I'm getting passes from Kucherov. Life is good. So Kucherov is the fucking man. Got to give him a shout out. Very similar, where he's just well and above the best scorer on his team. And who's the other guy? All right, let's talk about the Leafs. All right, Marner, I'll talk about you. No, I don't think he's going to win it. But yeah, arguably, he's the MVP of the Leafs right now. He's stepped up huge in Matthews' absence. He's been scoring. He's been great two-way, man. Yeah, he's. I mean, I wish he can bring that play. When Matthews wasn't in the lineup, the way that he was playing there, so dominant, so dangerous. Just you never knew what he was going to do. And I feel like when you add Matthews to his line, he gets way too predictable. I think he's working on that. Honestly, he's been a little bit better with that. Not always looking for that Matthews pass. And, Matthews a little off this year. He's not 100%, so it's not working as good. But Marner's been fantastic. Absolutely, I'd say he's an MVP of the least. John Tavares right there, though. He's been fucking excellent. So freaking good. All right, so those are... I don't think any of them would win. No Leaf is probably going to win a Hart. Wait, Matthews won a Hart, didn't he? Anyway, I don't think they're going to win one this year. And who am I missing? Kaprizov. Got to talk about Kaprizov. Very, he is by far the best scoring talent on his team. He is leading his team by a lot. And yeah, he brings up everybody on his line. He brings up anybody that plays with him. Boldy, Zuccarello, whoever you got. And without him, Minnesota would be kind of what we know Minnesota to be. Just kind of a team that exists. Really no flash, no payay, nothing crazy. Once this Kaprizov guy got here, everyone's like, yo, Minnesota, what's going on? You guys are pretty cool. And yeah, they are pretty cool, especially with Kaprizov on there. He's definitely going to be in that conversation as well. In terms of who I would give the MVP to right now, honestly, I think it's Kaprizov. Like, the what do you call it? The expectations for Minnesota coming into the season were immensely low. So low. Like, I didn't have them in playoffs. We're like, oh, this is going to be the final year of the cap crunch, and then let's watch out for Minnesota. But now, and there was even some conversations of Kaprizov potentially leaving, and I don't think so anymore, man. It looks like they're going to give him a blank check. Here you go. Sign it, please, and we'll keep you forever. Amen. And that's how it's going to be. And then they're going to have a whole bunch of extra cap space to bring in some more guys. So, yeah, dude, I'm immensely impressed with Minnesota, and Kaprizov is at the front of that. Him and Gustafsson. And, yeah. Ooh, I'll also throw out, you know what? I want to throw out one more defenseman, Zach Werenski. Come on now. Him, you can even put Monahan in that. The performance that those two have put on for the Columbus Blue Jackets this season is nothing short of incredible. Again, another team with zero expectations. They had every right to just lay down and let the season just take them over, but no. They're fighting, they're battling, they're staying in a playoff hunt, and yeah, dude, it's extremely commendable. I mean, what Werenski and Monahan have done for that team is phenomenal. And it sucks because Monahan just got hurt, which is a shame, but Werenski, I want to shout him out as well. I would have him as at least a nominee or something. The performance that he's put on over there, incredible. So, yeah, those are the ones I would go with. I would give it right now to Kaprizov. I think he's been phenomenal, but there's really no wrong answer in there. You can give it to McKinnon, McDavid, Draisaitl. I really wouldn't be all that pissed off, honestly. They're all phenomenal players. So, yeah, let me know which ones you think are the leaders right now in the Hart conversation. And I think that's it, everybody. I think we're done here. I finally did that Hart conversation that's been on this list for like a month now. I finally did it, and that felt good. And there we go, everybody. So thank you so much for listening. You're the best. You want to be even more of the best, make sure you're reviewing and liking the podcast. Share it around with a few thousand of your friends and enemies. All that great stuff. And I upload all of these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. The link is in the description. Go over there, subscribe, to the channel. Drop a comment. I'd love for you to send in a question. Drop a question on the comment section. Anything about hockey, video games, or wrestling would be preferred. Outside of that, I'm no expert, but I'll try my best. I'll teach you. I know how to make toast. I can do that. I can cook. I can do some cooking. All right. But in terms of what else we got going on with the podcast this week, GamerCast is still up in the air which episode I want to do. Rather, it's going to be games that I think have aged very well and will continue to age very well. Or I'm gonna go back to all the games that I played in 2024 and go through the entire list of every game that I played and just talk about them. Some of the ones that got slipped through the cracks, just discuss all the games that I did. I have scores on all of them, so I just kind of, I don't know, there just feels like there's a lot more meat on the bone with that list. There's a lot of games on there that I didn't talk about very, very much, and yeah, I think it'd be fun to kind of just go back through the entire year and just discuss all the games that I played in 2024, because I didn't get to talk about all of them in the Xyz Award. There's only so many games I got to talk about, not all 60 of them. So that could be fun. I could do that. And yeah, so don't worry. There will be a nice episode of the GamerCast there for you this week. And there will be a WrestleCast. I do think there's a pay-per-view this week. If there is, there will be an extra pay-per-view review, of course. And there we go, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back again with some more GX Plus Cast.